Hi guys, today I'm working on a craft video. I'm going to be trying to make a bleeding skull candle out of the skull here that I've already made. I made this about a year ago. It's October, so yeah, right at a year. And I had a video where I made a mold to make the skull. Here's a look at that mold. It's a two-part silicone mold. I believe I used Umu 30 for this, but you can check that video out if you're interested in making a mold. So to make the bleeding skull, I've got a soldering iron here set up so that I can heat my instruments, and I'm using a hacksaw to be heating the blade for that. A knife, and this is just a wax spatula. So, been looking at the skull and trying to figure out where I'm going to be cutting this. I think I'm going to go ahead and just cut the top or the cap of the skull. Alright, now that I have that piece removed, I'm just going to use my knife here and I'm going to warm it up on the soldering iron. Go ahead and just place it on there now. Let it get heated up, and what I'll be doing is just digging basically down. Probably start like right here, dig all the way to this other side, just straight down. And I want to dig down below the eye sockets. Okay, after digging about 10 minutes, here's what I've come up with. And I've dug down just past the bottom of the sockets. What I want to do is get a better effect. I'm going to deepen these sockets, so I'm going to carve out some of the wax on each one of them and just make it a little bit deeper, a little thinner. So I've deepened the eye sockets. And I've been using my finger as a gauge. I really don't want to see my finger through the eye sockets. You don't want this too thin to start out with. Now we may go back later and carve out some more. Another indicator to tell if it's too thin is to take something red and put it back there. You don't really want to see that red. Okay, let's move on to the next step. Using my hot plate, I'm heating up this pot, and I have an old red candle that I've broke in half because I don't really need the whole candle melted down. So I'm going to melt that down. If you don't have a red candle, you could I'll use a white candle and just use a red crayon. I'll even put some of this red in there as well. Let that melt down. That still has the wick in, but that's not it's not a big deal. Could take that out later. Wax is melted now, and I'm going to turn this hot plate off. I don't want to pour directly into the candle with it being this hot. Otherwise it's going to melt the candle more than I want. So I'm going to let this cool down and just start to get hard again, and then I'll pour it. Could have done a better job than pouring. I'm gonna have to take that off now, guys, but get an idea of the color that it's gonna look like. While the red wax is cooling in the skull, I've got some of the flakes that I carved out of the skull, so I'm going to melt those down on the hot plate. Here's a look at the skull now. The red wax has cooled. It's hard now, and I'm going to be adding the skull cap back on. Okay, next I'm going to seal the cap here. I'm going to use some of the pieces that I took out of the skull and just seal that up. All right, the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to carve some more out of the eye sockets and get the wax closer to the red. Kind of want it to have a deep, dark look to it, but I don't want any of the red to be seen.